got a hammer.
All right, we're not going to get into this now. Okay, thank you, Fred. Let me tell you who stopped by. Gallagher.
I just saw Gallagher.
The comedian. He kills me. He's always got something going on.
I thought he retired.
No, he ain't retired. There he is. He's got a business suit. He's far from retired. He's an executive now.
He's an executive.
Gallagher, you look
I am an executive.
You almost look like a Wall Street guy now.
I am. I trade stocks all day long. I know as much as all of them combined.
I used to see you on TV. You wore a cap and you wore jeans. You were very...
Cappy Genie,
Cappy Genie.
And nobody would have thought you were an investor looking at that outfit.
Yeah, you've really classed yourself up.
Well, you know, Jim Cramer copies me. You know,
Is that right?
Sure, he says he's the Gallagher of stocks, and he smashes food. You know, he says when one stock in a segment moves, then the other stocks are going to catch up. So he whacked a bottle of ketchup with a bat.
Well, let me tell you, everyone
rips you off.
That's right. Does Carrot Top rip you off in a sense? I mean, with the props, and then I think he even smashes a watermelon.
We had the same manager.
You're kidding. Did
He
you ever
used to came to my show when I was down in Fort Lauderdale. I knew him when he was a teenager. I didn't know he wanted to be me. I just knew he wanted to be a comedian.
Did it make you angry? Did you ever say to your manager, look, the guy steals my act. What is this? Why are you...
No, he was going at a different audience. He was going for dumb people, teens, silly, like the Conan O'Brien type of rattling laughter. I can never figure out what is funny about Conan. I mean, it's just...
Conan O'Brien, you don't feel he's funny?
No.
Not at all.
Terrible. Do you laugh? I don't laugh.
Will he let you on the show? Is this a little problem with getting access to the show?
Well, I don't think I'd want to be on his show because it's kind of teeny. It seems like it's painful if it's quiet.
Who do you like of the late night host? Do you feel Leno is a funny guy?
I don't think he knows how to do a monologue like Johnny. You don't walk out and say, well, what was in the paper? You wouldn't walk up to a person and say that, and an audience is just a person. So Johnny'd come out and he'd say, you sound like you're in a good mood tonight. What about this weather? It was sure hot today. Or, he'd talk to you like you were a person. He'd set himself in the space.
Well, Jay Leno is talking to you the way he talks to people.
Yeah,
you can't walk up to somebody and say, what I saw in the paper today.
Did you happen to read this in the paper?
And it's always the same style of joke. It's, here is the facts, and this is the consequence. This is the fact, and this is the consequence. I don't think he's ever written a joke, and I think he hires joke writers, then teaches them to do it like he did. I remember when he was working for Jimmy... I can't remember his last name.
Walker.
Jimmy
Jimmy
was
Walker.
Letterman.
Yeah.
Letterman walked.
No, they both did.
Did they both? Yeah. I didn't know that. So when you see a guy like Leno so successful, do you say, why didn't Gallagher get the Tonight Show?
I know exactly the whole story. You know, I know how he got it, and it's they pick from among the people that are there in Hollywood,
right?
And that are working the store and the Improv, and he kind of. Told the agents, the network people, that Letterman was too edgy.
I see.
He undercut his buddy.
Was Leno a good stand-up comic, though?
No.
His
show doesn't have any dynamics. It's the same at the end as it is at the beginning, and that you get bored with that.
What about Letterman? Is he any better, or is he?
No, he wasn't a comedian at all. But I would see him.
Hold on a second. Didn't Letterman do stand-up comedy?
Yeah, I met him when we were both hiding from the Tonight Show comedians that would go to the hotel next to the Comedy Store. And if you worked the Comedy Store, they'd come over and get some jokes from you to use in the sit-down.
Right.
So we were working in Murray Langston's club in the Valley. He had bought this club with the Sun and
Unknown
Sheriff.
Comic.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he worked with a black guy, and they had an act together on the old Sonny and Cher show, and he bought this bar from these lesbians. And Dave would be there, me and Dave and Junkman and the Carpenter. These two gay guys had an act, and they sang. And sometimes that was the whole evening, was me and Dave. And so when Dave came here and started throwing watermelons off of a building, I thought, of all the things, here we are hiding from other comics to steal our jokes, and he gets a show and steals from the only guy he was working with while we were hiding out.
So you and Letterman were good friends.
I don't think he's friendly with very many people. He liked George Miller, and the two of them used to watch Leave It to Beaver in an apartment across the street from the Comedy Store. I'd go over and see them in the daytime, and Dave just seemed to like Leave It to Beaver. He likes the everyday, Midwestern. He almost kind of on his show says, we don't have a show, and isn't that funny? And no, it's not funny that you didn't produce a show. You're supposed to make a show.
In other words, the idea of going on TV, this is interesting what you're saying. The idea of going on TV and saying, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, I got a lame show tonight.
We don't have a budget. You don't have a budget.
You've got a budget. No one
He's got a budget, but he's got to use the people that are there, the doorman. And Jimmy Kimmel does the same thing. Here's my cousin.
But Jimmy really doesn't have a budget.
No one's giving Jimmy a budget.
Here's my cousin. Here's my, they're using people that are there and make an excuse saying, well, this is the average person. And you can't really make an excuse for not having a prepared, established, written show.
I see.
Isn't that what people pay for? Why, you got to be an entertainer.
So when you were a younger man and Letterman was a contemporary hanging out at the Comedy Store, and why was he friends with this guy George Miller? You say, in other words, why was he not friends with you? Were you just too normal?
I just never saw him being really friendly with anybody except his agent, Debbie Miller from William Morris. And she'd stand in the back with me and she'd say, if I could get him on the talk shows, I could get him to be the host. But he doesn't have enough material for a spot. And isn't that nutty that
he would sit all day and watch Leave It to Beaver?
So you think Letterman didn't have much of an act?
Oh, he only had frying bread in Crisco oil. Debbie used to say to me, "We're still frying bread in Crisco oil." He'd make fun of that commercial where we've just fried this bread in Crisco oil to prove a point. And I don't, and he'd talk about that. And Jay didn't have very many jokes either. He kept bringing out a hatchet. He said he came across a guy in an alley with a hatchet, and that was his biggest, wildest joke, because he used to do a lot of mom material.
Right, yeah. I remember seeing him in Washington, D.C. in 1980. I thought he was a very good stand-up comedian, Jay Leno. Made me laugh a lot.
You did laugh?
I did laugh a few times. I don't know if this
is bitterness or a real evaluation.
I'm an authority on comedy. I think I was a comedian in another life. When I met Jim Stafford, I was a chemical engineer. And I, for some reason, knew what he wasn't doing as a comedian and what I could add to his act. And I worked for him for 5 years. We got a summer show. So we had million-selling records. We had the first song about homosexuals that was on radio, My Girl Bill, the first song about drugs, Wildwood Weed. We had a 2 million seller, which was a big deal.
Let me ask you something, Gallagher. Leno sucks, Letterman sucks, Kimmel sucks.
No, I don't know. Jimmy's pretty funny.
No, Jimmy you like. Okay,
yeah,
good.
I think, well, you said you laughed at Jay. I like Kevin, who is the delivery guy. Kevin,
Kevin James?
Yeah. I'm 61. I can't.
Who's the worst stand-up of all time? Richard Pryor?
No, he was.
Oh, you liked him. All right. I think maybe you didn't like him. I just thought maybe you didn't like him. I don't know.
Plus he was a friendly guy. He'd invite you over to his house,
and then he'd shoot you.
Did you ever do any coke with the guy, or
yeah,
you did?
You always would. If you go over to his house, he'd hold a court in his office and make sure you got some chicken. And there was always people that I've seen him pass out checks a lot.
Right.
Wow.
And he'd kind of hide it a little bit and then show them the amount real slow just to watch him be impressed. He was a very nice guy. He was friendly.
And you would do coke with him?
Well, he'd offer you coke when you went to his house on Sunday.
Did he have the best coke?
It was Sunday. Yeah.
Of course. He was a very wealthy man.
Yeah.
And who was going to give him bad coke?
Right.
Right. And he was funny. He was funny and a decent guy. A lot of guys, they just, they pretend. Like, I talk to all the stagehands, and so they tell me who you're not allowed to talk to. And
what comedian aren't you allowed to talk to?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Is Jerry Seinfeld a good comedian?
No, he's terrible. He was the fourth best comedian on his own show. What if you had a show and you didn't even get the bronze medal? I mean... And that one guy, he wasn't really a good stand-up. He was a funny. I could have had
Kramer.
Kramer. I could have had the Kramer part. I can come through a door with a lot of energy. And he was in that club, and he wasn't an experienced comedian, I think, and so he didn't understand that club. Is a black club is the one that he went to. Mm-hmm. Jamie Masada's club there, the Laugh Factory, is black. and he got insecure and started using bad language. And
Kramer, yeah. Right.
And then, he wasn't skilled.
But to say Seinfeld is not a good comedian, I've heard very few people say that. I mean, they say he's so proficient at getting up in front of these crowds and talking.
And telling his funny little observations. He's not working where I'm working. I just got back from Sandpoint, Idaho.
Go ahead.
And you don't go standing up in front of 50 people, or 500, I mean. That was how much it was the first sellout they've ever had in Sandpoint. And that's what I do. These guys can't do it.
They can't.
No,
they can't sell out these.
They can't do a show to average people that you have to entertain moment after moment to their face.
Do you still smash the watermelon, or you?
No, I didn't do it in Boise or Sandpoint, but I will be at the Blender Theater and
you will smash the watermelon.
And Lakewood in New Jersey. And then in the woods, there's a town named after that Indian, Jim Thorpe.
Yes.
Jim Thorpe, I'm going to.
What about a guy like Jim Carrey? I heard he was a tremendous stand-up. Is he?
No, you didn't hear that. He's terrible. He was painful to watch because the things that you could do for a movie don't work on stage. We would stand in the back of the Comedy Store and just pain. It's just painful to see him do his little acts and his faces and his body movements.
Well, how about when he talks with his ass? He moves the cheeks.
Well, would you do a movie based on a guy that's going to get in a tree and turn around and show his butt? I mean, where's the talent there? I don't understand Hollywood. Why you have to be a comedian to then get a serious role? They did it with Robin Williams. They do.
Is Robin Williams a good comedian?
No, he's a comic actor.
A comic actor, but he's not a good comedian.
You have to give him the jokes.
Okay, then Billy Crystal. You got to say Billy Crystal's a good comedian.
Yes, because he writes.
Right. Now, okay. Robin Williams, they give him the jokes? In other words...
Well, he'll take them, or you can give them to him.
Is he a stealer? Does he steal jokes? Is that true?
Well,
I've heard that about him.
Heard it.
Yeah,
it's his only... I mean, that's what goes after his name. Robin Williams, comma, joke thief, comma.
You're saying it's on his resume, even.
Well, to the other comics, everybody knows. He can take the part of your joke. I had a joke one time that I like to do at the beginning of my career about marijuana. I'd say, give your... marijuana be good for old people. It makes the time go slow. Give your grandma a lid of Columbia and a ton of yarn. You get back an Afghan to cover the garage. Well, he saw me do that at the Ice House, and so then he did it on Dave had a talk show out in L.A.
Right, Dave Letterman.
Yeah. And it didn't work. And I saw him do that joke on Letterman's show there.
Did you call up and say, hey, come on, it's not even worth fighting about?
When Andrew Dice Clay came to town, he was doing several of my jokes. I walked up to him.
Andrew Dice Clay?
Is he any good?
Well, he reminds me of Spitzer. It was these guys that threw their life away. I'm making a list of the Stanley Cup, like the Bill Clinton Award.
Yeah, who's on your list?
Well, you got to have Jimmy Swaggart and Jim Baker for throwing their life away, and Isaiah Thomas almost did.
Right.
And Mike Tyson, of course, had it going for him, and Andrew Dice had the world record for the most people to ever show up at a comedy.
And he threw it. How did he throw it away?
Well, he didn't. He wasn't a writer. He just had the little nursery rhymes. As
did he steal
gimmick.
that from you? Did you?
No. He had that himself.
Right.
And the going whoa and the character. He could have built that into something. I don't know why.
It all went away.
He let it go away.
He did. He self-destructed, is what you're saying.
All of these, and I would say that it's men that do it, except I do have some chicks from here in New York. Amy that shot the...
Amy Fisher?
Right, and then the skater girl that had Nancy Carey and whack. And then this astronaut chick who I don't know her fell in love. And
this is like a quiz.
And showed up. And then Mama Cass and Karen Carpenter also, when you think about it, I mean, just a dumb way to go by eating and not eating is pretty funny. I know Mama Cass should have given Karen Carpenter the sandwich. They both be alive today. But,
who is the most underrated comic? This Artie Lang? Do you know of him?
I don't really know a lot of the comics now because I'm traveling on the road and I don't use an opening act.
I see.
And so I don't. I watch them on TV when I can. Mm-hmm. But
have you seen this Artie Lang?
So you know a lot of
the
established old guys.
Yeah.
Do you know any of the Saturday Night Live guys? We mentioned Billy Crystal. Do you know Chevy Chase? Do you know?
Well, I had an argument with Chevy Chase on the Tonight Tonight Show, you remember.
I don't. What happened?
Well, I did my little smashing act there. When I sat down, Chevy says, well, does all your stuff have little props to it? As if to say, is that the only way you can be funny? And I says, well, you know, people like it, so you keep it in the act. And it's television, and you're supposed
visual.
to... Yeah, it should be visual. I was always on with a guest host because Johnny, for some reason, didn't like prop comics, but he's a magician. Hey, what's the deal there?
Right.
I didn't get that. But so we had a little argument, and he said, well, in my opinion, I said, nobody cares about your opinion. But he's a comic actor, too. He's not really...
He's not a stand-up comedian.
No,
he doesn't do what you do. You go in front of a crowd, you got to win them over.
And get a show. Do a show that has an ending and have some dynamics. That's what I kept telling Sam Kinison. He would start loud, and it didn't go anywhere. I say, Sam, you got to build to that. You know, when you like using the bad language immediately, you've used up your surprise. Now, it's not like I'm not going to say these words, but I'm going to save them for the right place.
So you are
a student.
You are a student of comedy. In a sense.
Yeah, I'm the smartest guy that ever decided to be a comedian.
What about George Carlin?
He's gotten bitter, but he's one of the best. I wish he wouldn't put a Pepsi on a stool. These guys don't need to have a drink. Anything that's in the picture has relevance. Why in the hell do they have to have... George Burns was 90 years old and sucked on a cigar and did an hour. He didn't need a drink.
Why do all the comedians need a bottle up there? Is it almost like a baby bottle?
Sissies!
Did you ever...
One saw another one, and it becomes a tradition in a month in America, like wiggling balloons behind the foul shooter. Do you want to win the game because you're a better wiggler? If that's then you have to have the crowd come in for practice and wiggle.
All of these stand-up comics have a bottle up there with them.
And they cut the show up. And so sometimes there's a bottle that's full. Then sometimes the bottle's 3/4. Then there's another bottle. Then that bottle's on the bottom. George isn't used to using the bottle. I saw him. He did his whole show and never took a drink. And then right at the end when he was waving goodbye, he saw, oh, there's my Pepsi. He took a drink. He didn't need the drink.
He could have drank backstage.
Backstage, you're going into your dressing room. You got your Coke. You got your Pepsi.
You know, you make a lot of sense, especially from an editor's point of view. If you're going to chop up the special, it must be distracting to a
it's
genius
distracting.
like yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Anything that's in the picture should be relevant.
So you've never used the bottle on stage?
My God, no, you don't need it. It's sissy. It's stupid.
You'll drink backstage when you're done with the show. An hour, you can go without a drink. I go without a drink, sometimes 4 hours.
Yeah, you know those people on Broadway who do one-man shows. They don't have a bottle on stage.
But imagine if every actor in a play had a bottle with them.
Where is it going to end? There's such we have such a sissy country. Everybody has a luxury truck.
Right.
They can't just have a truck. And you want to respect somebody for having a truck.
You're so right.
It shouldn't have a bed liner. Right? They got one now that has a little handle and steps to get up in the back. How sissy is that?
You know, Gallagher, you're a genius. Everyone knows it, and people can hear it by what you're saying today. And what you've said is incredibly honest. Most people in comedy will not say Seinfeld isn't funny. They will not say Letterman isn't funny. They will not say Leno isn't funny. You are not afraid to say what you think.
I think they're thinking it too. I don't think. I think they put up with what the networks give them on TV.
I see.
What can you do? You're going to have to...
But it must kill you when Seinfeld walks into a club, he gets a standing ovation before he opens his mouth.
No. What kills me about Seinfeld is he takes the money out of the market. Why, if he's already rich, why does he have to have a $75 ticket? What is he doing?
Why not give the people...
He already has a bunch of them cars in a barn.
Right.
Does he need some more money? Why doesn't he do free shows? Thank you for doing it.
Why not say to the people who supported Seinfeld, here's a free show, or here's a show for $20 a ticket?
Or black people. Go in the neighborhood and give a free show.
To black people.
Right.
You're right. Who puts a free show on?
Pujo people are coming to see Seinfeld. And then Disney uses him because he's got this great bee idea. I don't know what the whole deal is.
Aren't you sick of the bee? Don't you want to
I don't know.
take a fly swatter to that bee?
I don't know. Is it funny? Is it not funny? I don't know. Why Disney would pick somebody that doesn't relate to the average person. You're not allowed to talk to him. Like Barry Manilow, they had to make a tunnel so that nobody could even... You used to have to make a tunnel so that
you wouldn't look at him when he performed backstage?
He didn't want nobody looking at him.
Were you backstage with him at one point?
The stagehands tell me
They tell you the secrets.
Yeah, they tell me how many bands now have to bag the seats. Gore and Insane Clown Posse, because they squirt food, and so they blame me. Hey, Gallagher, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be doing this.
Right. So if you had the kind of success that Jerry Seinfeld had,
you'd be getting free shows.
Blacks would have free comedy right now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I want to do something for the
sad.
community. I want to build family reunion resorts.
What's that?
This is a large open area surrounded by bedrooms. And so families can get together. I think that...
I want to talk about this. You're an amazing man, and I'll tell you why. Because this is fascinating to me.
I don't even understand what he's talking about.
I'm going to back him up for a second, because Gallagher's mind goes a mile a minute. You couldn't possibly keep up with it. Most people can't. Gallagher. Everyone knows the story who listens to my show that you, of course, have your stand-up act. You let your brother use your stand-up act for a while.
It was about Carrot Top. You see, when Gary Proper, my manager, got Carrot Top, I thought they were going to do a smashing act in the small club. So I told my brother to do one and stop them from doing it in the small clubs. And I have so much material, he could just do my old jokes.
Right. Long story short, I'm not going to go into the whole story again. You and your brother had a tremendous falling out.
Well, he was lying to the general public. He was saying that I had retired, or I was the East Coast Gallagher and he was the West Coast, or whatever. I just got out of drug rehab.
You were out of the business.
It was fraud. It was fraud.
You got out of drug rehab?
No, he would say whatever that they needed to say. Play the music loud before the show so that people wouldn't talk and say, hey, it's not really Gallagher.
Yeah, so it got to you after a while. You said, listen, I'm Gallagher.
Well, you don't defraud the general public.
Right. You say, I'm Gallagher's brother.
Well, how could your brother
he did it right for 5 years because we used the guy, Tom Sobel, that runs the comedy club in Louisville. But Tom's crew didn't like working with my brother, and so they finally quit.
But let me get to the point. Gallagher won a lawsuit against his brother, right? For trademark violation. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much did he have to pay?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't have to pay nothing. I just enforced my trademark, and
he was banned from performing Gallagher's act, is what the decision was, according to my notes.
Yeah, I had to take my brother to court to get him to do what I asked him to do.
And after the lawsuit, you haven't spoken to anyone in your family. Your brother, you don't speak to. Your father, you missed his funeral. True.
True.
And because you stopped talking to your dad, was your dad angry with you for suing your brother?
I don't know. I think he had Alzheimer's. He didn't really know what was going on.
And your mother, you haven't seen in years.
Right.
Did they all side with your brother?
Yeah, because he was the baby. But I babysat the guy, because I was 9 when he was 5, and my mom and dad went to work. So, I was used to taking care of him my whole life anyway. You'd think he'd do what I said.
Is your mom still alive?
Well, I really don't know.
You don't even know.
But I have a family. My fans are my family, and that's why I want to have these family reunions.
This is what I want to get to. Here is a guy, Gallagher, who doesn't get along with any member of his family. In fact, doesn't know.
I know, and wants to do a family reunion resort.
That's crazy.
And you want to build a place...
Thousands of them across the United States.
Where families have reunions?
Yeah.
Isn't that odd?
No. I have a family. Just because you're related to somebody doesn't mean they're really a good family.
Who is your family?
All of my fans. They love me. They bring me their kids. Do you have a wife? No, not now.
No wife?
Well, I had one about, 6 months ago.
Do you have kids?
6 months ago?
Oh, yeah, I've got 2 kids. I have a girl, 26, who is the catering director of a Four Seasons. And Oprah dropped by the other day, and she might be doing some of her shows from the place in Westlake Village on the way to her place.
You mean you're really unaware if your mom is alive or dead? You really have no clue?
No clue.
So if you had a family reunion, you wouldn't even know who was showing up.
I don't want to have it. Well, I could have, it doesn't have to be a family. It could be a Corvette club or a motorcycle gang. Anybody that wants to use. In fact,
so you think from a psychology standpoint, again, you probably know more about this than I do, but a psychology standpoint, here you can't have a reunion with your family. And so it must anger you in some way. So you're going to create family reunions.
I saw the big fat Greek wedding. And the night before the wedding, the time that the bridesmaids had in the bedroom was so cool. I wondered why there isn't a place in a hotel for bridesmaids with makeup, mirrors, and places to hang costumes, because a wedding is a production.
Absolutely.
And we don't care about common people. I want to say this. A building is the set for the scenes of our lives, and we're not giving the average family a dramatic life.
All right, so you have a big idea.
Yeah.
You want to build family reunion centers. In other words, if I book myself into this place that you want to build, you haven't built it yet. This is an idea you have.
Right.
You want to, and you're serious about it.
I've talked to the Indians all across the country. Why can't they build them at these casinos? The Puyallups have all the money from the Boeing people, and the chief loves me, sits in the front at the show, and they're afraid to be first.
You know the chief?
Oh, I know him in all these Indian casinos. I work all of them. They love me because I'm cheap and I draw.
You went to Donald Trump. You tried to get a meeting with Jim Cramer, the guy on CNBC.
Because he could have the corporations. Why can't Google do this? They know how important it is to have ping pong tables and skateboards.
But don't family reunions already happen at resorts? Can't I just go to a resort and have a family reunion?
Do you have kids?
Yes.
Okay. You want to know where they are.
Right.
So you need a door, and you need an uncle on that door. And then if you do it in a park, you're always watching to see where in the hell the kids are. And then there's bugs, and you're outside, and there's strangers. You need a secure area. Think how much fun it would be to drink at the same place you're going to sleep. 40 doors. Isn't that a cute name? 10 doors on each wall. We had our reunion at 40 doors. Now, I work the Midwest. I know it don't sound good.
You understand this, Robin? In other words, there's going to be 40 doors, and you're all going to be connected.
No, to this big room.
They just all open on the same, let's say, courtyard.
And you don't need a bathroom, because the fun of it is taking a shower with all the boys in the hockey-type dressing room. And
you're kidding. You're going to turn it into like a camp.
And the girls get a wonderful makeup area where they can hide from the men, put furniture in there, and have a great time bonding. It's about bonding.
All right, so you got this idea. What happened when you called Donald Trump? I'm sure he jumped at this.
You got to do The Apprentice.
Well, I also wanted to tell him about my patent on a new architecture for slot machines, because I think that these kids that are playing video games are going to be bored to death with the slot machine graphics. And so I have the patent on a whole new idea. When the watermelons come down to the pay line, they could either break or explode or bounce.
Right. And
you're a winner when that action matches. Now, because you like girls with their bras off, say that these naked chicks are coming down with on parachutes, and when they land, their tits go all the way to their feet or just to their waist, or they fall off completely and bounce.
Now, did you pitch this to Donald Trump? Did you get a meeting?
No, he wouldn't. I had an appointment, and they called me and said the person who made the appointment was a temporary. Do you believe that lie?
He was
what
temporary
a lie.
after that.
How stupid to let a temporary. Only Spitzer was dumber. Why did he handle his own phone call? He says to himself, I gotta either do the work of the state or set up an appointment with a prostitute. Oh, you do the work of the state, I'll handle this.
Right.
Why get on the phone? Why can't he have a trusted person to get the hooker, and then he goes down to their room?
Right.
And what's the $4,300? Where did we hear this figure?
Well, it's $1,000 an hour. He booked her for 4 hours, which was minimum.
And she told everybody he gave her a $300 tip, which isn't 10%. 400 is 10%.
That's right. It's under 10%.
It feels like car fare. I don't think it's a tip. I think she had to pay. He had to pay for her room and the trip down or something.
You're saying you needed a trusted friend. Like I have Ralph. I could say to Ralph.
Why not?
Line up
That's
a
what
hooker
everybody in town is saying. I can't.
Maybe he had no
Clinton
friends.
is saying you paid for it. Don't you have an intern program? The hell are you doing?
All right, listen to me, Gallagher. Your head's ready to explode because you've got too many ideas. It's amazing.
Well, I have the patent on both of these. If you go to U.S. Patent Office and search Leo Gallagher, I'll go ahead and tell you my name. You'll see both of my patents there. I want to tell them because I think I should go to the Maloof brothers as my advisor, Howard, Don't you think the Maloofs are the better person to go to instead of
They
Donald?
might have you locked up. You never know.
Well,
you got to be careful. No, yes, go to the
because
Maloof
they want
brothers,
it. They're
then.
young.
You got to go with someone who's going to listen to these ideas. Didn't you try to get a meeting with Al Gore, the former vice president of the United States?
Yes.
What went wrong there?
Well, his secretary of appointments doesn't know who I am, and I wanted to. You've seen my Uncle Earth thing, haven't you? It's up on YouTube and MySpace now. But the whole world can see it. I made my face up like the Earth, and I was an ocean. My nose was a volcano, and my ears were mountain ranges, and I had a polar cap.
Amazing.
And my eye was the eye of a hurricane, and I spoke for the Earth. See, this is what the kids would listen to. Al did some boring thing in the suit with a PowerPoint presentation. That's okay, but
So you tried to meet with Al Gore to suggest how to be more showbiz.
and also his next flow. He needs to talk about the subatomic particles next because he's become the father professor of the world.
What are subatomic particles? Of course, I know, but
I just was at the Consumer Electronics Convention in Las Vegas, and people that work for electronics companies don't know the difference between an electron and a photon.
Assholes.
I would ask them.
Right.
Well, you need to know this if you're getting a CAT scan
laughing at Howard.
or a
Oh,
PET
I see.
scan.
Well, let me tell you.
If you're getting these raised into your breast in a breast exam, you need to know whether or not they could give you cancer, looking for cancer.
Uh-oh, Dice Clay's on the phone. He's mad because he doesn't like what you said. What is it, Dice?
Hey, bald fuck.
Uh-oh.
Hey, you big bald fuck.
Uh-oh.
You want to say something about me now, huh?
Yeah, I'll remember the joke that that you used when I told you. I said, "Hey, everybody in this club knows that this is my joke. You can continue to do it if you want to." Didn't I say that?
You're talking to fucking me. How do you like that? Tough guy.
Wow, you really...
Is that a guy doing an impression?
It's probably a recording.
Yeah, we couldn't get Andrew Dice Clay, so
All right, look,
we
listen.
just cut up his voice.
Let me, first of all, see Gallagher tomorrow night at the Strand Theater.
He's still
No,
doing
Lakewood.
comedy?
I'm in Lakewood tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night at the
and then-
Strand Theater in Lakewood, New Jersey.
oh.
That's what it's called.
I'm shocked that with all these ideas, you have time to do.
Well, I
stand-up.
tell my crowd these ideas to see if they like them, and you know, get the real people.
Also, for tickets, go to strandlakewood.com. That's number one, okay? And see Gallagher Friday night at the Blender Theater at Gramercy in Manhattan. These
Yeah.
are very important shows for
Now,
you to go
Howard,
see.
everybody used to come in here and talk about the kind of money that Gallagher was making on the road.
Gallagher's
Are you an
making-
extremely wealthy man?
Gallagher, tell the ladies, are you an extremely wealthy man? They want to know.
Yeah.
You are. You've made big change in this business.
I promoted all my shows, so I have all the money.
Are you
the money.
worth, I'm going to throw out a number,
Yeah.
$20 million?
No.
Less than that?
Yeah.
Are you worth...
I lost a lot of my net worth since November in the market.
I thought you knew what you were doing, you said.
I did.
Yeah.
You did before you lost the money?
Yeah, I knew exactly what I was doing as it went
And
away.
then you say you got a divorce, too, right?
Yeah, I have, my money's divided up among my kids and ex-wives.
Yeah, huh?
How many ex-wives?
I have 2 legal ones, and I just ended a 16-year relationship with a young lady.
No
I've
kidding.
got 2 stents in my heart. I don't know how long I got, you know?
No kidding.
Well, what are you looking for? We had a guy in here earlier who could help you out.
I'm looking to be more than the guy that smashed watermelons. I want to.
Did you get the guy's number, this Jason character?
No, I gave him my number.
You gave him your number.
Well, he said he wanted to have some fun. He
Right.
could come to my show. We have fun
Absolutely.
at my show.
So you're worth, what, $5-10 million?
No.
Oh.
Good Lord, Gallagher.
Gallagher
Well,
really
you're
got wiped
asking
out.
what I'm worth. I get, you know, my wives ended up with a lot, and my kids got, you know, some of the money.
No wonder you're angry.
I'm not angry. I can make it again. I'm
Any
gonna.
desire before you die to reconcile with your brother, your mother, if she's alive? Do you have any desire? Do you ever fantasize? You don't want
You don't
want
want to see these people.
No,
You
I
really
want.
don't like them.
Well, what's the meaning? I have millions of fans every night. That
Do your
people-
fans sleep with you every night? No. Will your
My
fans,
family didn't either.
will your fans be there when you're sick?
Yeah.
Oh, they will?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
bring me their kids. They love me. I have a wonderful relationship with my fans because at 7 o'clock, I'm in the audience taking pictures and signing autographs.
So you are
when
full.
you
You're
walk
full.
in the door, I'm there.
What is it, Richard? Please. I was about to plug
Well,
Gallagher.
I don't know if you've thought about this, but how do we know that this is the real Gallagher and not Gallagher's brother?
This is the real Gallagher.
Can he prove
I
it?
recognize him.
He is the real Gallagher.
Right, I have a college degree in chemistry and physics, and my brother didn't go to college.
Among other things.
Among other
If
things.
you knew anything, you'd know this was
I'm
Gallagher.
convinced.
Believe me.
Hey, what I want to ask Gallagher, what did you think of when Chappelle's show did Black Gallagher?
Oh,
Did
I
you
thought
see
I
that?
was going to have all these black people at my show finally.
They never showed up.
No,
Hard to get black fans?
none.
Zero.
None.
Gallagher?
Black people don't like to see things thrown at them.
I've had two
Oh.
black people at my show
Well, I
in
don't
my
like to see
entire
'em
career, and they were
smash-
both from Jamaica.
Really? They weren't
Yeah.
even real American blacks.
No, I like Obama.
Well, I don't like to see us smashing a watermelon either.
Well, listen, Gallagher, you're on fire today. It's
I am
clear.
on
I mean, you could do
fire.
10 hours here, but
I could.
Yeah, he's full
see-
of ideas. I did not realize.
And if Donald Trump was listening, take a meeting with this man. Maloof Brothers,
Why
take a
didn't you
meeting.
go out for Celebrity Apprentice? You would have been perfect.
Please, he doesn't need that.
They don't play fair. They were out on the street, and that guy from Kiss, he had friends come in and spend a lot of money and win the contest. That's not fair. That's not really using your business acumen. You're just winning because you have rich friends.
What
That's,
if your brother
Yeah.
starts a Ron Gallagher family reunion resort? So let's say he hears your idea
Yeah.
and he takes it and he starts his own family reunion.
I would
resort.
go and see that.
You would
I
go
would
see
be
that, all right.
impressed
Okay.
with him for.
What is your brother doing now?
I don't know.
He doesn't know. He's not in touch with anybody.
But I have a family of
He's got fans.
It's okay.
He
I
told you that.
understand. I
Why don't you back
understand
off,
that.
Robin?
I'm sorry.
Man will smash you over the head like you're a watermelon. See Gallagher tomorrow night. Thanks for coming in, Gallagher.
All right.
At the Strand Theater in Lakewood, New Jersey. For tickets, go to strandlakewood.com. Also, see Gallagher Friday night. At
Oh, I got some free. I hate it when guys have sissy rings. So I put farts and motorcycles on my website. They can download and put on their phone, so their phone
ringtones?
farts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hate
love
it
that.
when they go.
What's a sissy ring, for example?
Anything.
Terrible.
Any little song. What kind of?
Kind of amenity.
I'm thinking of starting a website, balls to the walls, only guy stuff, no
Right.
chick shit.
I like you, man. I really always do.
You don't like these metrosexuals, do you?
Yeah, I see. You're manly. You don't care. Even
It's
your
why the
hairdo
world is
wild. You don't-
screwed up.
you
It's
don't-
because nothing is for sure anymore. What's the difference between a hard foul and a flagrant foul? Nobody knows. How much can you dance in the end zone? I tell these kids, pull your pants up. They don't even go over the pooper hole. Up is up all
Right.
the way.
I
You
agree
can't
with you.
run from the cops with your pants half down. This is up means up.
See Gallagher Friday night at the Blended Theater at Gramercy in Manhattan. For tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com. You've made so much sense here. It's sickening.
Too much.
That's right. Will the governor resign?
Yes, he's an idiot for not resigning quicker because they look further into the story. The longer it takes, you're supposed to get out of there. Every day they think of another thing that they
Gallagher, who
Maria
will be-
Bartiromo's saying, where'd you get the money? How much is he worth?
Who will be the next president? Gallagher, quickly.
The old man.
John
McCain?
Yeah.
All right. How do you
The
know
other
that?
two, well, they're going to self-destruct. She's not a woman. He's not a black.
Oh, really?
No.
What do you mean?
If he was a black guy, he'd have a white wife. And if she was a woman, she'd have been pissed about what Bill said. Oral sex is not considered sex. There's old men. If they have oral sex, they're counting it as
Right.
oral sex.
You bet.
That was the beginning of the lies and the spoon.
See, he knows. He's out there with the people.
I
Go
am.
listen to this man. He has
Yeah.
wisdom.
He has a lot going on. He knows.
Hillary can't be president because after a state dinner, the men talk and the women talk. Well, the state dinner, she's going to have to talk to the guy after dinner. That's going to leave Bill with his wife. You don't want that.
Gallagher, you've said it all, and you've said it well. We're going to be back right after these words. Thanks for stopping by today. You know I always appreciate seeing you, and I only wish you happiness in the future.
I want the world to get together in family reunion resorts
Gallagher
for the
Family Reunion
kids to
Resort.
learn about the inner space instead of outer space. Why would a president from Texas cancel the Super Collider maybe we would have found energy that we wouldn't need to send our kids to Iraq to protect that old style energy. We led the world. We're free now because we had the atomic bomb and beat the Japanese. Why would we abdicate this leadership to, of all people, the French? They're not even our friends.
When's the last time you got laid? I think you're really backed up. I really think so. When is the last time you had really grade A woman?
I think a year.
A year?
Really?
I'm 61. It doesn't work.
Your penis doesn't work?
No, you don't have any more testosterone.
Get
do you
out of
ever
here.
do you drive by a McDonald's when you're not hungry and you
Wait
say to
a
yourself,
second.
"Wait a minute, that looks good," but then you can't remember why? When I see a
telling
woman,
me-
it's like a bag of hamburgers. I don't know.
You're telling me at 61 it stops?
It stopped about a year ago. I don't.
here.
I look at girls and I remember I enjoyed them and I did have fun
You
on
don't
the
beat
road.
off? You don't do anything?
It doesn't work.
No morning wood, no
Well,
nothing.
I've got a heart condition, so I can't really take these things.
Viagra you can't
Viagra
take.
and all
That'll lower the. I've got 2 stents in my heart, and
Oh,
that made
Vinny.
me mad. The guy that invented the stent didn't know the difference between a photon and an electron while I was laying on the table, and he said we're going to use beta rays or gamma rays instead of beta rays because they're kinder. And I said, well, what's the difference? Doctor? And he said, well, I don't know, but my radiologist does. Well, when the radiologist came in, he spoke Indian. You can't, these guys,
Who the hell is operating on you?
the inventor of the stent.
When is the last time you orgasmed?
I would say about a year and a half.
Oh, for
or so.
Christ's
I
sake.
can't.
I am so sorry.
I know.
I am really sorry for you.
But that energy is going into the family reunion
You're
resort.
shot out of a cannon. You've never been more on top of your game.
I am.
This no pussy thing is really working out for you in terms of comedy.
I don't know if that's the reason.
I don't know. You're on fire.
I
All
am.
right.
I got some new websites too. I'm making Smash My Face. Somebody you hate somebody, you take their picture, send it to Smash My Face, mutilate it, put it back in your phone, and show them what you'd like to do to them.
You see, Robin, no sex equals lots
Look
of
at all
time to
these
get to
ideas.
work.
Look at all these ideas.
That's right. All right, listen, Gallagher,
I'm outta
thanks.
here.
All right, brother. And we'll be back right after these words.